Good morning, student. I'm Purnima, and once again I am there to revise you the lesson if I were you. In fact, children, in my all the three video which I was revising the same lesson, I've completed the lesson today. But I was thinking to do some of the textual question answers and some extra question answer, because this is the only drama in your syllabus and it is very important. So let me revise you, children. First of all, the message of this story, and then I will be telling you once again all the main points of the story, then the background, and then we will be doing the question and answer. So let's revise, children. So first of all, children, the theme of the story I am going to tell you. So what is the theme of the story? According to the writer Douglas James, who is the writer of this drama? It is Douglas James. According to the writer Douglas James, one needs to act in a very intelligent way at the time of the crisis. And when we are in some crisis, when we are facing some trouble, so we have to show our presence of mind, and we don't have to be scared, we have to be very bold. One needs to be bold. The presence of mind is always essential of the time at the time of the crisis. So children, one important thing here, the writer is focusing about the presence of mind. Here children, the intruder, he has trespassed. Trespass means he came deliberately into the cottage of Zerold. He entered deliberately. He trespassed in his house. That means by force he entered into the into his house without asking anybody permission, because his intention was not good. Children, anybody could have been in the Zerold place, he or she would have been scared, but due to his presence of mind, children, he had not only saved himself, he had helped the police to catch the intruder. So we have to be aware, children. We don't have to feel nervous or afraid at the time of the crisis. This is the message given by Douglas James. In this play, Zerold is the main character of the play, and during the talks he learns the intention of the intruder. When the intruder comes to his house, in fact he trespassed his house, without telling him he entered to his house, and when he came to know the intention of the intruder, okay, Geralt smartly concatenates a story to outwit the intruder. That means he also makes a false story. This shows that children, he had used his presence of mind, and which that story has outwit the intruder. The sense of the humor often help us to show in the play. At the same time, children, not only children, he is having a presence of mind, he is having a sense of humor also with him. Many dialogues of Zerold will make you smile and will make you think that he is such a outwitted person. So Zerold outsmart the intruder to trap him in his own net. So children, he was trapped in his own net, and this happened because Zerold did not children at all, he was afraid. Rather, he showed his presence of mind. Now, I will be telling you about the main points of the story, and I will be doing the question and answer, student. So, the playwright named Zerold lives alone in a small cottage. So, a small cottage is there, and it is the playwright Zerold. His name is Zerold, and he is living in a small cottage in Essex. Once an intruder entered his cottage to kill him. So, intruder is there, and he entered in his cottage to kill him. The intruder is a criminal, and he has also killed a policeman. So children, the intruder is a criminal and he had killed a policeman also. The intruder thinks that he resembles Zerold very much, and he decided to kill Zerold and then leave himself as Zerold thereafter. Now children, why did the intruder comes to his house? Because children, Zerold, he is a criminal. His main crime used to rob the jewelries. He was a jewel robber, and police was after him. He had also killed a He had also killed a policeman. So children, the police were chasing him. The police were after him. Now children, he remembers Zerold because they both resembles a lot. His height, his face, his health, everything resembled a lot. So Zerold, that intruder, thought that by entering in his house, he would kill him, and he would be leaving. The Zerold identity will be his own identity, and he will be living peacefully. In a very clever manner, children, Gerald had children in a very outwitted. He was an outwitted person, and in a very clever way, he made out to speak all the things about him when in the intruder entered in the house of Zerold. So, in a very clever way, he made him to say whatever the things which he had in his heart and mind, and he came to know that he had been there to kill him. Well, Zerold smartly outwits the intruder and tells that he himself is a murderer. Zerold tells the intruder that if he kills him, police would hang him, if not as himself, then as Zerold. So he is telling, even police is after my life also, and police is searching me, and today you have seen me packing my bag. Today I was supposed to leave this place because today I am suspecting trouble here. The police may come anywhere. The intruder falls in his traps and agrees to run away with him in his car. Zerold acts very smartly and opens the door, which is actually the door of a cupboard. So children, Zerold told, okay, we will go from here to we will go from this door to outside, and there we will go escape in a car. Now children, the intruder very smartly, Zerold acts smartly and opens the door, which is actually the door of a cupboard. When the intruder looks into it to see what it contains, Zerold suddenly pushes him into the cupboard, and he at last calls the police to arrest the intruder. So children, it was due to the presence of mind he was able to catch him. Now student, today we have completed this chapter, okay, and children, the reaction of the intruder. After children, the reaction, I will also like to discuss about the reaction of the intruder. After hearing all this thing, when he began to think this was an opportunity for Zerold to take control of the situation. He asked him to hurry and flew away with him in his car to any safer place. He then opened the door, which was actually a cupboard. The intruder looked into it to see what it contained, and he got trapped. Climax of the story. Zerold pushed the intruder into the cupboard. The revolver fell down from his hand. When he stepped into the cupboard, Zerold rapidly closed the door of the cupboard and picked up the revolver. He then called the police to arrest the intruder. So children, this was the climax of the story, and the end of the story was a nice end. Okay, it was a happy ending, and it shows that it also gives us a message that we should have presence of mind when we are in trouble. So children, now I am going to discuss, as we have finished the lesson, so I will be discussing some extra question and answer along with the textual question and answer. So now children, here we are. So my first question is, now children, this is reference to context question and answer. At last, a sympathetic audience. So who says this? It is Zerold who said this. And why does he say it? He says this because the intruder becomes sympathetic towards him. Is he sarcastic or serious? So no doubt he is sarcastic. Question number 2. Why does the intruder choose Zerold as the man whose identity he wants to take on? Very easy and very important, of course. The intruder chose Zerold as the man whose identity he wants to take on because he is kind of a mystery man. He phones his orders and sometimes goes away suddenly and come back just the same. Question number 3. I said it with bullets. Who says this? What does it mean? Is it the truth? What is the speaker reason for saying this? So Zerold say this. It means that he deals with some situation by firing the gun. No, he wants that the intruder should change his idea of killing him. Now, what is Zerold's profession? Cure the parts of the play and support your answer. Zerold is a dramatist. He says, sorry, I can't let you have the props in time for rehearsal. Question number 5. You will soon stop being smart. So who says this? It is said by children. This dialogue is said by intruder. And why does the speaker say it? He said it because Zerold does not seem afraid of his gun. What according to the speaker will stop Zerold from being smart? According to the speaker, the bullet will stop Zerold for being smart. They can't hang me twice. So who says this? Why does the speaker say it? Well, children, it is said by the intruder. The speaker said it because he wants to murder Zerold and he has already murdered someone, so the police cannot hang him twice. A mystery I propose to explain. What is the mystery the speaker proposes to explain? This is question number 7. So children, a mystery I propose to explain. What is the mystery the speaker proposed to explain? The speaker wants that the intruder should explain what mystery is associated with him. The mystery is about Zerold placing his order on telephone and he goes out suddenly and returns in the same way. Question number 8. This is your big surprise. Where has this been said in the play? Where has this been said in this play? What is the surprise? Zerold speaks this line. He tells the intruder that if he is not hanged for his murder, he will certainly be hanged being Vincent Charles Zerold. At this time he utters this word. What is the surprise? The big surprise is that Zerold will not be killed by him. He is right in saying this. Now children, I would like to do some additional question now, and this you have to do, children, by yourself. Imagine you are Zerold. Tell your friend what happened when the intruder broke into your house. Okay. Imagine that you have to imagine you are a Zerold. So you have to, some clues I am telling you. You have to describe the intruder, his appearance, the way he spoke, his plan, his movement, and then how you outwitted him. So you have to write like this. Okay. Well, now children, I am going to do some additional question and answer. My first question is, why does the intruder say that Zerold will not be pleased for wrong? The intruder enters Zerold's house with wrong intention. He has a gun in his hand and wants to kill Zerold. So he says that Zerold will not be pleased for long. Question number 2. Why did the intruder want to have Zerold's identity? This is very important question. The intruder was a criminal. He murdered a crop and hid himself. Now he wanted to lead a life like Zerold, so that the police might not be able to identify him out. Moreover, Zerold's life was a mystery to others. Why does the intruder desire to kill Zerold? The main purpose of killing Zerold is that he wants to take on his identity as the intruder is a criminal. He has already killed a policeman. His job is to steal jewelry. The police are out for him. He wants to pose as Zerold to avoid police and live peacefully. Why does Zerold ask the question, what have you to gain? Zerold wants to convince the intruder that he will not get anything after killing him because he is also wanted. The police are in search of him too, so he will be hanged as Zerold. It is useless to kill him. Where did the intruder see Gerald? What did he come to know about Gerald there? The intruder saw Gerald in Asbury. For the first time he had seen there only. Gerald was there in his car. Two other people saw him and they started talking that how intruder and Gerald they were assembling a lot. He listened to and found Gerald a bit queer, kind of a mystery man. Why does Gerald say that the intruder entry is highly melodramatic? Now children, the intruder entry is really highly melodramatic. He enters silently with a revolver in his hand. He is dressed in an overcoat and a soft hat. He bumps against the table. He threatens Gerald not to be oversmart. He would make Gerald crawl. He asks Gerald to sit down and not to be very funny with him. Now, why has the intruder taken a lot of trouble? Why the intruder has taken a lot of trouble in knowing about Gerald and not interested in telling anything about him? So, children, Gerald thought that the intruder had taken a lot of trouble in knowing so much about him. Gerald was right. The intruder was a murderer. The policemen were after him. He did not want himself to be exposed so soon. His aim was to kill Gerald and adopt his identity to deceive the police. Who was the intruder? Why did he come to Gerald Cortez? Now children, who was the intruder here? A nice question. The intruder was a criminal. Simply you have to write the intruder was a criminal. He was an expert in jewel robbery. The cops were after him. He had come to Gerald's cottage in Essex because he could hide himself in the wilds of Essex. He intended to adopt Gerald's identity and kill him before doing so. How can the intruder save himself as being Vincent Charles Gerald? So the intruder has killed a cop and wanted by the police by killing Gerald and adopting his identity. He can gain freedom. He has become a poor hunted rat. As Vincent Charles Gerald, he is free to go places and do nothing. He is free to go to place and do nothing. He can eat and sleep well without caring for the cops. Why does Gerald say that the intruder will gain nothing by killing him and taking on his identity? The intruder thinks himself smart, but Gerald proves himself is still smarter. He cooks a false story to outwit him. He tells the intruder that he is a murderer himself. Killing him and taking on his identity will not help the intruder. He will be accused of murder. The police will hang him, if not as himself, then as Gerald. So children, these are some of the important question answer which I am discussing with you. Well, how is the intruder trapped in and handed over to the police by Gerald? This is the last question, the additional short question I am telling. Gerald Foss' story unnerves the intruder. Gerald takes control over the situation. He asks the intruder to hurry and run to a safer place with him. Student, he then opens a door which is actually a cupboard. The intruder steps into the cupboard. The intruder has already dropped his pistol. The police is called to arrest him. Now, next question is, how did Gerald prove that he was smarter than the cunning intruder? Of course, children, no doubt Gerald was much more smarter than the cunning intruder. If cunning intruder was a cunning person, Gerald was much more, children, smarter, and as well as he had a presence of mind also. So the intruder no doubt made a smart plan. He wanted to gain freedom at the cost of Gerald by killing and taking on his identity. He could live freely as Vincent Charles Gerald and he could hoodwink the police by hiding himself under a different identity. But Zerold frustrated his plan. He was made to step into a cupboard which was locked from outside. He was handed over to the police. Zerold had the last laugh and proved smarter than the intruder. So children, this is the short question, and in this question children, long questions are also important because this is the only drama you are having in your whole syllabus. So chances of long questions is also there to come in the examination. So children, there are 4-5 long question I have made in notes and I am going to dictate to you. Why did the murderer break into Zerold's cottage? Now, if this is the, first of all children, let me give you some tips about the long question. Whenever we are having long question, whenever the long question is asked, you have to see 3 things children. First of all, see the word limit. The word limit is from 150 to 200 word. Now, if the word limit is 150, then that means children you have to write 3 paragraphs of 50 words each. Or you can also write 4 paragraphs of 40 words paragraph. Okay, so you can write 4, if you want to write 4 paragraphs, you have to write 40 words in a paragraph. If you want to write 3 paragraphs, then you have to write 50 words in a paragraph. Okay, and then there should be no scribbling, nothing like that. Okay, so children, I am going to discuss the questions. Why did the intruder break into Zerold's cottage? The intruder was a criminal. He had killed a policeman. Policeman was chasing him like a hunted rat. Mr. Zerold resembled him. He too lived a lonely life and very few people knew him. The intruder wanted to kill him and takes on his identity. He learned his expression, movement and style. Everything he had learned about Zerold. He broke into Zerold's lonely cottage. He wanted to kill him and leave as Zerold to dodge the police and others. But Zerold outwitted the intruder. He told him that he was also a murderer and the police were against him. The intruder was convinced and agreed to help Zerold. But Zerold cleverly trapped him in a cupboard and handed him over to the police. What is Zerold's profession? How does his speech and words reveal this? Zerold is a playwright. He terms the situation melodramatic, and melodrama is a genre of drama. Another instance is Zerold calling himself a sympathetic audience. He also points out that in most melodramas, the villain is foolish enough to delay his killing long enough to be frustrated and hangs on to reminding the intruder that he was luckier than most melodramatic villains. Referring to the content of his bag, he mentioned that they had disguised outfit and false mustache. How did Zerold outwit the cunning intruder? Was the intruder paid in the same coin? The intruder had made a foolproof plan. He had a criminal past. He was a robber and an expert in jewel robbery. He had an encounter with the police. In the encounter, he had killed a policeman. The policeman was after him. He was hunted like a rat. The cunning intruder thought of a unique but smart plan. He made a forced entry into Zerold's cottage and he had already taken a lot of trouble in knowing about him. He wanted to kill him and take on his identity. So student, by doing so, he could gain his freedom and he could live in peace. He came to Essex to hide himself from the eyes of the police as police were chasing him. Zerold proved rather smarter than the intruder. He cooks a false story. He told the intruder that he himself was a murderer. He would gain nothing but by murdering him. Taking on his identity would serve him no purpose. He would be hanged to death in either case. He would be hanged to death even as Vincent Charles Zerold. If confused, the intruder Zerold took control of the situation. He made the intruder step into a cupboard and locked it from outside. The police was called and the intruder was arrested. Now give a character sketch of Vincent Churchill. Now children, character sketch can also come in from the in a long question answer, and whenever you start a character sketch, children, you have to start with the positive points and you have to take the example from the lesson. So here we have to write the character sketch of Vincent Charles Zerold. He is the main character of the story, If I Were You. So first of all, children, before writing you have to write an introductory part. So first we can write Zerold is the main character of the story. He is a playwright. He lives in a small cottage in Essex, and an intruder enters his lonely cottage. He lives alone there. The intruder is a criminal. He intends to murder Zerold and takes on his identity. So children, first of all, first point we will write here, Zerold is an intelligent fellow with an analytical mind. So he understands. Now what example you will give here? You can write the example, as soon as the intruder came to his house and he had made such a situation that the intruder was beaten in his own game. This shows that he had a good analytical mind and he had a great presence of mind. Now children, the intruder, then he is a smart fellow, children. When intruder, second point you can write, he was a very smart fellow. When the intruder breaks into his cottage, Zerold is preparing to go out for rehearsal of his new play. The intruder comes prepared. He tells Zerold of his smart plan, killing him and taking on his identity, which will bring freedom to the intruder. So he declares that he himself is a murderer and the police are after him. So see how smartly, how nicely, children, he has made a fool to intruder. So he is a cunning, you can also write, he was a smart fellow, he is a cunning fellow. And now children, third point we can write humor. He has not only he had a presence of mind, but he was having a humorous of nature. So children, so many examples of humor I have told, it's there in the book, so you can write any one of the point. Now children, Zerold is a outwitted person. Okay, our next point it can be, he was an outwitted person. Children, Zerold had the last laugh. And how he had fooled, you can write how he told that he himself was a murderer, and when the police came, what happened, children? He was a person, when the police came, he told lie to him that police is after his life also, and today he was going to escape, because when he came he was packing his bag, and children, he made a fool to this intruder and he had a last laugh. Now my next question is, why does the intruder ask Zerold about the people who visit his place? What response does he get from Zerold? So children, the intruder has murdered a policeman. The policemen are after him. He wants to save himself from the police. So he needs a safe place for this purpose. He enters Zerold cottage for killing him so that his identity can be used. He wants to lead his life as Zerold. So it is essential for him to know about the people who visit that place. Zerold tells him that only few people take the trouble to visit him. There is the baker and greengrocer and the milkman. Zerold tells him about everyone. He responds positively because the intruders threatened him. He wishes to do everything with meticulous planning and adopt Zerold's identity without any problem. Now children, few more questions can be asked, and I think I have already discussed, like why did the intruder enter Zerold's cottage. So you can tell that why Will is describing all this thing, because he wanted to take his identity. Okay, in detail you can write that he wanted to take his name, he wanted to live there by the name of Zerold, and finally what happened to him. Now one more long question can be, Describe the intruder's interaction with Zerol. So the intruder enters Zerol's cottage and interacts with him. Zerol talks with him without any fear. The intruder asks him to tell about his car and the people who visited place. Zerol tells him that he has a car and informs that very few people come there, like children, milkman, and the person who sells vegetable. He tells that he has murdered a cop and wants a safe place to live in. He also tells that his specialty is jewel robbery, but Zerol said that there are few jewels in the wilds of Essex. They also talks about clothes and their fittings. Zerol tells him that he will not get anything after killing him. So he is also wanted, but untimely Zerol gets rid of the intruder because of his presence of mind. Children, with this, this whole lesson is completed today. We have discussed the question answer, we have discussed the additional question answer, the main points of the lesson, the background of the lesson, and of course the explanation and the new word. With this, children, I conclude my video here. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.